welcome in and welcome back to the Down South Philly Show. How y'all feeling this week? How y'all feeling today, rather? I'm your co-host DP. Dom will join us shortly, but let's go ahead and handle the particulars of the particulars today. This stream right here is brought to you by none other than the Sports Lounge Media. You can catch us here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We again appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe to the Sports Lounge Media on YouTube. And then once you finish with that, go ahead and give us a sub at the Down South Philly Show. We're trying to get this thing to 1K before the season starts. So any subscription that you can dish out, we'll happily take that. We got a full show today. But before we get into the birds, we got some things happening around the league. First and foremost, today, I believe, we got to talk about not only is Darren Waller returning from retirement, a quick retirement, I might add, but he's also being traded to the Dolphins. So first, the Dolphins, right? They just traded Jonnu Smith to the Steelers, and that left a void for them. So this gives Tua a weapon in the middle of the field to go again with Tyreek Hill and Waddle on the outside. But for the Giants, that's it's kind of where careers are going to die these days, right? Um, eh, eh, to think that he was at such a low point last year that he just was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and hang it up. And I think he just did an interview not too long ago where he was discussing what's good, Don.
What's going on?
How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm feeling amazing, man. I'm amazing,
Hey man, it's a good time to be a Birds fan.
man.
That's all I can say.
Tell me about it.
Man, well, we just got started on this breaking news from today where Darren Waller decided to come out of retirement and they traded him to the Dolphins.
Hey,
So
so I saw like I was driving, but I saw that earlier and I thought it was a joke because I'm like, buddy retired. I thought it was just somebody just talking. So I didn't really
yeah,
get to look into it. So I'm glad you talking about that.
man, it's just saying from the Giants standpoint that they was at such a low that he just was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and hang him up. It ain't even worth it. It ain't even worth it. Cause I think he did an interview not too long ago where he was basically saying, like, I just lost and while he was playing for the Giants,
He
he lost
did.
the love for the game. They had him playing fullback.
He
As a matter
did.
of fact, I'm gonna tell you how bad it got in New York for him. When they was doing all the highlights for social media, all the highlights was from the Raiders. I ain't seen now Giant highlight of Darren Waller. So that just goes to show you that wasn't nothing going right for him. But
Right.
hopefully he can rekindle some stuff that he had with the Raiders because he was a dog when
Right.
healthy. So Tua need the weapon now that he got rid of not he now that the Dolphins got rid of Jonnu Smith in the trade, which brings me to my next point. The big trade, one of the domino pieces that we talked about on this show of possibly getting Ramsey, in Philly didn't happen. So he ends up getting traded to the Steelers for Minka Fitzpatrick, and they also sent over Jonnu Smith to the Steelers. So I think that's an interesting move for me. Obviously, it was reports that Jalen Ramsey wanted out of the Dolphins, and anytime any big player is available, as a Birds fan, we always want to put our bid in because we know anything possible with Howie. But what do you think this does for the Steelers?
You know what's crazy? I'm trying to figure out like, cause they already got a good defense, and I
Hmm.
feel like they adding to that. But trading Mika,
Yeah, that's a huge
that's
loss.
crazy. Cause how I'm looking at it, they already got like Joey Porter Jr. right.
Hmm.
Then they get Darius Slay.
Yep.
So what you about to do with Ramsey? Y'all about to move him to safety? Like,
That's
and
what
if
the
that's,
reports were saying. It's possible.
but do you like? I don't get it though, cause why would you? What y'all doing? Like, why would you take a guy who's been playing corner, move him to safety when you already had a bona fide like one of the best
You
safeties
already
in the
know what you
league?
was getting.
You needed Joe New that bad that you was willing to get rid of Minka to get Jalen. Like, so
and
I'm trying
Minka
to
and Minka, he younger.
exactly, and he already been playing the position, so it's like, so I'm really trying to figure out like what they. I don't really understand it. Like, I ain't saying they wrong for doing it, but I need some more understanding of like what was their thought process. But of course, they got some great pieces over there in Pittsburgh. I just don't really understand like why you get rid of him, because I mean if they could have got Jalen Ramsey and kept Minka
Yeah, that would have
and
been
maybe
super
still
nasty.
got Joe New, like that's the move right there. If, like, you want to compete, you get Jalen and keep Minka. Like, and I mean they ain't by any means necessary to whatever you had to do to keep him. Like, that's a hell of a move right there. So
Yeah. So
like I
that's
really
another weapon.
I can't really say I understand like what was their thought process.
Me neither. Me neither. The only thing that makes sense is they wanted
Joe
Jonnu
knew.
Smith that
Yeah,
bad that they was
exactly.
willing to give up
Get
like
rid.
a major piece. Because
Exactly.
from the Dolphins side, they won. In my opinion, they Jalen Ramsey already wanted out, right? So they had
Right.
to move him somewhere.
Right.
So they moved him, and they got um
Minka
Minka back, and I believe
back.
they drafted Minka.
Yeah, I
They
mean that's
drafted
where
him,
Minka
so
Minka came from, the Dolphins too.
still
Steelers. I think it was that. What? Dang, that was a while ago, right? Was that around the time we got
years
Jay,
ago. It
or
might have
was it
been.
after that?
It might have been right after that. It might
Yeah,
have been right after that because that's a minute ago at this point. I don't think he that
yeah,
old.
yeah.
But
It might have been like a year or two later. I feel like.
But yeah, I think the Dolphins definitely won this one. From the standpoint of they really just had to do it because he wanted out, right? And they got a dog back. So I mean, from their perspective, it's a win-win. From the Steelers' perspective, I think we gotta wait and see. Evidently, they trying to do all they can to build around Rodgers this year. I don't suspect him being around for 2 years, so they probably just trying to go all in this year. I don't know if this necessarily make them a contender, but at least they got something to say in their division now.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. It's crazy to me. I got to see what they got going on. I guess Aaron Rodgers want? Who did they have at? Did they even have? Who they had at tight end?
They got Pat Fryermuth, so
Oh, okay.
he a tight end number one.
Yeah,
So now they got two.
yeah,
And Aaron Rodgers do like double tight set, so I mean it makes sense from that regard. But they gave up a major piece.
exactly.
It'll all
Ah,
what all'll make it worth it is if Jalen come in and be an all pro at safety, but that's a big
I mean,
if.
I can't say that I can't say that he won't, man. If it pan
Yeah,
out
we just gotta
if it
wait and
end up
see.
panning out in the end, then they look like geniuses. So I
They was
mean,
right.
I guess we gotta wait and see.
Yeah. But that was a little bit of news from around the league to shake it up. Before we really get going with today, I saw this graphic and it was dope that it basically saying that AJ could have went anywhere and got a bigger bag, after but right before he got his extension, he could have basically went anywhere, but he chose to stay and build a legacy here because this is basically where he became a superstar. And it just goes to show you like the culture that Nick and them have built over the past few years, and it's bigger than money. Like it's just them boys playing together. They like a family. They really not paying attention to the outside noise and all of the drama that the media try to drum up. He really liked being here. If he didn't, he could have left at any time. But I just thought that was dope that that came out because that's basically how I figured they was like behind the scenes, but you never really know until reports like this come out, like how they really feeling about the team. But I mean, that just goes to show you the culture they building. How you feel about it?
I mean, like you said, we kind of already kind of feel like this, but I mean, a lot of times it's just whatever we already think and getting validated. So I already know how them dudes feel, man. A lot of them dudes could go elsewhere and get more money. Now you might not necessarily be able to compete, or you might be able to compete. But I think a lot of times when these dudes come to Philly, man, it's like not only are you on a great team, but you also on a great opportunity to win. And a lot of times they don't be wanting to leave. So, and especially if you coming from a situation like AJ playing in Tennessee for a few years, they was right there in the AFC Championship, and playing. But at the same time, it's kind of like when it came down to contract time, you know, then he came over here, got paid, went to a Super Bowl, having success. So, love the fans, love the environment. So a lot of times dudes come over here, they don't be wanting to leave, man. So I get it. Um,
Yeah, it's bigger than money too, right? Because you come over here, you might not be coming over here for the biggest bag, but the opportunity to shine is bigger because you got stars right beside you that's making your job easier. And a lot of times we see when a player come to Philly, they end up having one of their best years ever or their best few years ever just because of the talent that's around them, allowing them to shine. And that might not necessarily always equate to a bag in Philly, but you can turn it into a bag elsewhere if that's really what your mindset is.
I agree. Like you said, like that's most people's situation when they come to Philly. Like whether you
Mhm.
get a lot of times it's like whether you get drafted or whether you come over here in free agency, it's like you gonna have a hell of a chance to shine. Just like OG Larry coming over from the Giants and Uche coming from the Patriots. Like I really think them dudes gonna like do they like have one of their best seasons this year. No, long as they stay healthy.
Sign me up. Like you said, if it come down to somebody having to ball out, having to leave after they ball out because they didn't they didn't did too much, so be it. So be it.
And them dudes, they don't be wanting to leave. It's just like it make
The
more
money
sense
be
to
too
just go
sweet.
get the money while it's on the table because you don't know how long your career gonna be.
Hmm.
Especially when you already then came from another team, like you don't know how long you got left, and you don't want to mess around, take less money, and then especially because a lot of times if you come over as a free agent, like you come to a team like the Eagles, you like let's go back to the guys I just mentioned, OG Larry and Uche, like they ball out. Their best chance is to go to another team where they gonna be able to probably start for a while and put up some numbers because over here you already know or certain teams they're gonna go with their guys they drafted if they got good guys already. So we already got Nolan and Hunt or whatever. So it might be a little bit harder for them to one stay and get paid as much as they would probably demand if they have great seasons, and two, be able to get that playing time like over those guys or whatever. But with Philly, we have a rotation, so you never know with Howie, man. Some people somebody might mess around and get paid, but
Thanks. So we already done talked about Swole Batman for the day. But I saw this other graphic for Skinny Batman where I didn't realize that he was the franchise leader for postseason yards in franchise history. But it don't surprise me because all he do is make big catches. But the only
yeah.
reason why I even added this was because recently I heard somebody say that Smitty ain't no number one. Basically he a bona fide number two. You can't put him in the slot and he get hurt too much. Now, being a Philly fan, we watch all their games. It's really not biased to say that he way more than a number two. Now, if you put him over there on the number two side, he automatically the top of the list of number twos. But he a bona fide number one if you put him in the right situation on a team. I would say more than a handful of teams, he would be a number one, or at least what he is in Philly.
On majority of teams, he's number one. It's only a handful of teams that he wouldn't go to and be a number one, and that's only because he's going into this. Like if he was already on the team and like some of them dudes came now, it's like, you know what I'm saying? But they already on the team as a number one. So if he come over there as the same, he'd be basically in the same situation that he in now with the top 5 guys that we always talking about or whatever. He go to any of those teams, of course he'll be a number 2 just because of the situation. But like most teams he go to, bro, he a number 1. Like it's more teams that he'll be a number 1 on than not. So
Facts. And ain't
and
even
I
ain't
didn't
even
realize he
really
was
much
a
of a
franchise.
debate for
I
that.
did know he was a franchise leader though in postseason. I knew that from I think they talked about it around the Super Bowl time, like maybe like right after I heard him talking about it. So
And the crazy thing is, like, his best playoff performance really came in a loss to Tampa Bay in
all
23.
last year, yeah,
In 23, he balled out.
yeah, he was cooking.
Couldn't be stopped. That was number one. That was number one behavior. He could do that every week. It's
Yeah,
just that he also got to play with AJ.
yep. Then depending on the game, Dallas got to get his touches. So ball
Kind
can't go to everybody.
it kind of is what it is on that one. But we got to get down to the main
Hold on,
event.
one more thing about Smitty too, and you was talking about all that stuff you was naming about he always getting injured and all that. First off, that tell you they don't know what they're talking about right there, because Smitty ain't never really be injured. Like he don't never really be injured. Like last season was probably the most he ever time he ever missed, and that was
Hmm.
because of concussion.
And
So
the hammy, because
yeah,
when you get a hammy, that's like a whole year
yeah,
injured,
and
really.
he had like the hammy thing, but I mean he even played through that. Like I
Hmm.
think he might have missed a game, but other than that, he played Super Bowl. They said he had one. He had a dagger on the hamstring.
Played through it.
And that's why AJ had said that's like one of the reasons why he really liked to play, because he knew Smitty didn't practice all week, but he still showed up in the game. So, but yeah, so all the other stuff they was naming, I can't remember what else you said, but yeah, like you can tell a lot of times when people start talking, they start saying stuff that they ain't matching up. Like you got to disqualify the whole rest of the conversation. I just wanted to put that out there that my dog Smitty is number 1. He rarely ever is injured, and whatever else they said probably was I can't remember what you said, but it probably was some BS too.
Man, put some respect on my boy name. But we got to get to these backers, man. First backer we talking about, obviously, we gotta give him his flowers. So Zach Bond, he was interesting. He came in last year and we signed him. I don't like that one. Let's stay back to this one. Last year we signed him as an edge rusher, and Fangio said, "Nah, that's an off-ball backer." So we already had been through 22 where we had some of the best linebacking play that we've ever had out of both positions, right? And then in 23, both of them left, and Kazir White and Edwards both left in free agency that next year. And boy, did we feel it. That was one of the main reasons why our defense was as bad as it was. And you couple that with the fact that we lost CJ and didn't replace him with nobody. So that the middle of the field was wide open for whoever.
And
And
you put that
wanted
on the fact that we had coaches that didn't know what they was doing.
that too. That too. But the main thing when we break it down, it started with bad linebacker play.
I
Which
agree.
was the cause for concern coming into the 24th season, because we just didn't really know who was gonna play outside of N'Kobe Dean. We even had questions about N'Kobe Dean. Well, not we, as in you and I, but media and other Philly fans didn't really know what they was getting out of N'Kobe Dean. They was already calling him a bust, injury prone, all that good stuff. We did sign we signed that linebacker out of Devin White out of Tampa Bay. in the offseason, and we was thinking, oh man, this is it. That's what we needed. That's the last piece on defense. He gonna come in. He gonna be the leader on the team, the dog of the defense. And come the first closer to the season starting, he not even on the team no more. I, we got rid of him before the season started, right? Devin White.
We didn't get rid of him before the season started, but he ended up leaving during the season because you remember he sat on the sideline all the way into that Tampa game.
Yeah, but leading up to the season, it was reports saying that he basically wasn't starting no more. Like he went from getting
Oh
all the
yeah,
snaps. He
but
went from getting all the snaps in the offseason, and then all of a sudden Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean was running with the ones.
yeah, we didn't really. Nah, I mean, I think he still was getting a lot of reps and stuff like that. I think it really didn't come out that they didn't really start saying that until like that last week. And then he found out he wasn't starting, and it was like that was the thing. Like
He
that
didn't
last
e
week.
he didn't even dress out for Green Bay, did he?
Nah, I don't think he dressed out for none of the games. Like
So
he had already made his mind up. Like I ain't playing. And like from his perspective, he probably didn't want to be like one. I guess he felt like, look, I was already doing my thing with the ones, and then on top of that, he probably didn't want to be labeled as a backup. Like, all right, if I start being a backup now, um, they probably gonna make me be not make me be, but the team's gonna start looking at me as like a backup. So he probably just wanted to take his chances, go somewhere else, and start. Or if he do go to like, and then at the same time, if you go to another team in like the middle of the season and you not starting now, it's like you got an excuse. Like, yeah, I went over there. I wasn't starting because I just went over there like later in the season versus I went through a whole training camp and I was over here as a backup. But like we said before, had he had stayed, he would have ended up probably getting the bag that he really wanted and be probably somewhere like with a bag right now on the starting linebacker. If he had just stayed in Philly and trusted the process.
hey, I mean, I guess I can see both sides down like that. Um, I guess selfishly, I always side with the birds, just from the standpoint of, like you said, he could have. I mean, at the time, it was hard to envision him getting some snaps, but 2020 hindsight, he would have been able to get a whole playoff run, and then a couple games leading up to that, to kind of put some good stuff on tape and turn it into a bad. But coming into the season, we had no idea what to expect from Zach Bond because this is an edge player. He had like 30 tackles the year before 24. And he was really just an unknown. But Vic loved him. Vic picked him. He saw what he could. I guess he saw something in him that made him say that he could be a high level player at the linebacker position. So he ended up flashing in the first game. So I'm like, okay, I see what Vic see. Because literally in the first game, the whole defense looked better. Like I already knew from the first half that this wasn't gonna be the same year as 23 because it just looked different. The run defense was better, they was covering better, the whole defense just looked better. So you fast forward to the end of 24, obviously now he got an all pro season. Now we hoping that we can sign him to an extension because we already know what it's like to not have no backers, right? So we end up getting him extended, and he's one of the staples of this defense, and he gonna be a key part to what we do this year, and dictate the kind of success that we have, especially when you consider Dean starting off hurt. We don't know when he gonna be back, and even when he come back, we don't know when he gonna be back to him. Campbell is a rookie, and we'll talk about him later too. But Zach Bond really surprised everybody. He surprised the league, he surprised the team, and he probably surprised himself a little bit to see like everything that he was able to accomplish. And then coming down the stretch in the playoffs, he just turned it on. poking balls out left and right, catching interceptions, just being the leader of the defense. So he gonna be a key factor to our success going forward, but especially this year, being the elder statesman in the room now. Tell me how you feel about the bald eagle.
Car, car. Hey, but man, I feel just like everybody else, man. We already know what we getting out of Zach Bond. Like you said, we didn't know what we was expecting at first, but he came and did his thing. I'm glad we was able to, keep him because, like you said, we just lost our best linebacker play that we really had in a long time after that 22 season. So we definitely needed the linebackers, man. Anyway, and I'm glad we got a coach like Fangio that knows the importance of linebacker because his scheme is pretty much predicated off like how good the linebacker play is. And I think a lot of teams are like that. But if you look at Howie, for a while, he never really invested into the linebackers like that. So I'm glad Fangio was over to come over here and like change his philosophy, and which we've been seeing how he changed his philosophy over the last few years anyway, and being more open to other stuff. Uh, be more open to other stuff. But anyway, as far as Zach Bond alone, man, chill out, man. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, but Zach Bond, man, I'm expecting a lot out of him this year, man. He's gonna be the leader on the defense. We really need him to hold it down, and to the Kobe Dean and Campbell can come back because we don't know what we're gonna get out of Trotter and Smile Monday because they pretty much gonna be the backups until those boys can come back. So I think we'll be straight though, man. I believe in whoever Fangio put out there on the field, man. I know they're gonna be able to hold it down. And like I said before, I'm expecting a lot out of Smile Monday too. Like I don't know if he's gonna be able to initially come in and get a lot of playing time because Charter already got time from last year in the system. He's a pretty good backer as well. But I think once Smile Monday get on that field, man, it's gonna be crazy. And he'll probably be one of the standings out on special teams too.
Man, everything you just said, I agree with it. One last thing on Zach Bond is not only is he right now the best backer on the squad that we know of, but he the only one that's 100% healthy that you know uh got significant snaps last year. So this is year 2 in Vic Fangio's system, so things should slow down even more for him. It's crazy to think that this team looked the way it looked under 1 year with Vic Fangio, but this year 2. So I'm excited to see what he does in year 2 in this system. But
and
that
then he
leads
was
me.
even another thing I add in that too when he was on what's the boys podcast name? Cooper the Gene and podcast. Oh, that's
Exciting Mike's.
His Exciting Mike's. I call him Exciting Mike's, but we know that's their name. But it's Exciting Mike's podcast. But yeah. He was talking about how much he was locked in to like make the team and end up being that starter or whatever. So that was good to hear, like how he was saying how much he was locked in because being over there with the Saints, he didn't really get that much playing time. So for him to come in over here, see that he had an opportunity if he just did his best or whatever to have a significant role, and he came and took advantage of it, man. So man, it looked like we're gonna have some good linebacker play for a while to come, and to not have that, man, it's lovely because we felt the same at the wide receiver position. It seemed like for so long we just was like throwing darts at the wall with these wide receivers, or not even really just even getting the best guys or whatever. So it still feels crazy to actually have like great wide receiver play. So now to have the same at linebacker is like, man, hopefully this lasts for a long time.
And it feel crazy to have dogs at pretty much every position because outside of like 22 was the year I felt like that. Obviously, once we saw them jail by week 5, I felt like that. 2017, I felt like that too. It was just like we ain't had no holes, and we was 24 was just another year like that where we just it's hard to see. It was hard to find a hole because we had the DB room was loaded. the safety room was loaded. Linebacker was a concern, but that was the only concern at the time. But like I said, as we saw them boys play, they confirmed that everything was gonna be straight. Uh, but one of the other keys to this linebacking core being what it was last year was N'Kobe Dean. Now coming into the year, we're not about to sit here and act like everybody was in love with Dean. We was one of the two of the only people really trying to cover for Dean
We
and
might
say
have
just give
been
him
we
some
might
more
have been the
time.
two only people. Nah.
Hey, it felt like that. It was a handful of them. So it was N'Kobe Dean, it was Reed Blankenship, it was Nick Sirianni. You could even throw Hurts in there.
Nolan.
Them four in particular, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis. Um, you could throw really that handful in there where coming into the 2024 season, people just swear, oh, you gotta get rid of these boys. They either bust, they not the answer. They was mad from the 23 season, like every season supposed to be peaches and cream. It was just a whole lot of nonsense when really everybody just needed to pump the brakes. And when the dust settled and we had the bye after being 2-2 and the sky was falling, them boys responded. They responded big. The defense started gelling. Offense didn't really take off like that, but the offense was sufficient enough to score when they needed to. When they really needed to, we scored. And defense just held it down until we got our head out our ass a lot of times and started to like really run the ball. But N'Kobe Dean, he confirmed everything we were saying. As you can see, he did get hurt, but he still had 128 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and an interception. It was supposed to be a pick six. He dropped the pick six against the Packers that would have turned up the whole season. But it's hard to be
He
mad at
dropped
anything.
he dropped two pick sixes. I can't remember the other game, but he dropped another one too.
He sure did. And yeah, he sure did. But he um he just was a dog. He basically confirmed everything we say about all our players. Just give him time to develop. And he showed up and showed out. I hate that the injury that he got was so gruesome because from the standpoint of this right here is his contract year for him. If the young boys behind him show out, he probably gonna be gone. And you can't really, blame him for going to get a bag. You can't expect no player to take a hometown discount, no matter how you feel about him. It just was injuries suck no matter what, but the timing of this injury was just bad. And when you couple that with the fact that he been injured a few times, he can kind of be labeled as being injury prone at this point because every season now he been hurt. But you also see his bright side, right? So he may not command top dollar in the market, but if he can come in and have a decent season this year, at some point, he'll get a bag somewhere. If he end up staying, it won't be for top dollar. And with the dogs he got behind him, it's hard for me to envision him staying anyway. Hold on, we got somebody in the chat. Marcellus. Marcellus said, "Hey, what up, Fly Eagles Fly? We going back to back." There you go. We got a lot of key pieces returning, man. I feel good about this team. Obviously, our biggest concerns, we've been saying them all off season, cornerback depth and safety. we, if we got those positions figured out, the edge is kind of a question from a depth, not from a depth standpoint. The edge is just a question of can they do it again because them boys just super young out there. And but the biggest concern that we had to pick some would be the back end. But if we can figure that out, hey, that's the sky is the limit. Say how y'all feel about the D line for 2025? I'm liking Ty Robinson. I like Ty Robinson. I don't. It's kind of hard to co-sign any of the reports because them boys ain't put pads on, right? So football is a contact sport. So we need to see what them boys gonna do when they put the pads on. If you remember, we've heard of people having great camps and getting to the season and don't do squat. So I'm excited about Ty Robinson as a prospect, but I got to see him do it when the games matter in September. You know, but I like it. I like Ty Robinson. I'm higher on Ty Robinson than Dom is. Um, but at the same time, I just got to see him do it.
Yeah, like he said, he higher on Ty Robinson than me. I don't know what it is, bro. I just don't. I got to see him play. Like I got to see how he gonna play with us. Like just me, like, cause usually, if I watch a player like college highlights, or if I go back and watch their games or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I can see it. I can see it. But for him, for whatever reason, I really just can't see it. I see a lot of hype around him or whatever, but I just gotta see what he gonna do, man. I don't know. Like I said before, my favorite pick from the draft was probably, of course, outside of Campbell, number one pick. But my favorite pick was Small Monday, the linebacker, and then after that, it's probably Makuba, second round pick. So my two favorite picks from that draft is Small Monday and Andrew Makuba. And like I said, of course, you know the number one pick. We gotta wait until he get healthy and get on the field. But Ty Robinson, I gotta see it. I gotta see. Like he's one of the few players because normally I can just see it, and I see it before everybody else. But Ty Robinson, I don't see it. But that don't mean he ain't gonna go out there and show out. I'm just saying I can't see it yet. I gotta see it on the field. I gotta see it in some practice and stuff like that. But I think we're gonna be straight regardless. We still got a Jomo. I think a lot of people sleeping on Jomo. I think a lot of people sleeping on what Jordan Davis gonna do this season. I think he about to have a hell of a season. But yeah, the D line gonna be straight, man. Azeez Ojulari, Uche, like the D line. This team, we lost a lot of people, but I said this defense, this matter the whole team really, but this got a chance to be one of our best teams we've seen out of these last few years, including the 22 season. So, in the season we just had, it got to manifest. But if you look at what we got on paper and look at how those guys, the potential of them guys, like the season could go crazy. Now we do got a tough schedule, so it's yet to be seen. But I think we're gonna be straight. And then as far as Nakobe Dean, I think he in a position where, like, I don't know how long it's gonna take for him to come back, and then if Small Money and Trotter and Campbell like doing their thing, like he might be in a position where he come back on a 1-year deal, which I wouldn't mind because I like his leadership. So if he did just come back on like one more year deal and kind of just be like a vet in that room, and try to compete for starting time or whatever, I wouldn't be mad at that. Or he might. It really gonna depend on like how he come back from his injury, for real. But if he come back on the 1-year deal next season, I wouldn't be mad at it because Nakobe Dean is a hell of a leader. We know he got the skill set and stuff like that, but like DP was saying, his injury kind of was like just came at the wrong time, and it was like so drastic that he just missing so much time. But yeah, I love Nakobe Dean. He's a dog, man. If you go back and look at our season, like look at the highlights, Nakobe Dean is all over them highlights. Like he making hella plays. Like DP pointed out, anytime somebody was trying to throw like a screen or something, he snipped that joint out every time. Like every time. But yeah, I love Nakobe Dean. It's just for him to even be in that room and teach them guys like how he see the game. Like they can see the game, like how he see the game. That's why I like Small Money, because they both came from Georgia. And if you go look at Small Money, like college highlights, or if you actually like watch them play, like he played like Kobe Dean a lot. He just got a different body type. So that's why I'm real high on Small Money. And I think if he get out there on the field and get a lot of playing times, it's gonna be hard to like keep him off the field. Like I could see Fangio trying to do something similar like what he did last year, when he played certain defenses to keep Coop on the field. I can see him like probably doing like certain stuff to just try to like keep Small Money like on the field. And I think, like I said, he's gonna be probably one of the standouts on special teams as well. Because I'm sure them guys, a lot of them backup guys like that gonna be playing a lot of special teams. And we made a lot of if you go back and look at last season, man, a lot of our biggest plays that helped turn games is like special team plays. So
Man, special teams played a hell of a role, not only in the regular season, but when you go back and you think about the play that Burks made against Green Bay, that pretty much set the tone to me for the rest of the playoffs on the opening kickoff. So he go down there, he make that play, he knocked the ball out, and it was all she wrote from that
set the
point
tone.
on.
We had one in the Washington game too, right? Fumble
Yeah,
on like a kick return. Yeah,
yeah.
but
So I mean that
we had
pretty
a few
much
like we was making plays on special teams all season. Sidney Brown
all
had a hell of
season.
a play. Sidney Brown had a hell of
Rodgers,
caused the fumble. Isaiah Rodgers, man, them dudes was them boys was flying around. I can't. I'm excited
Ringo,
about this, man. Football season can't start fast enough.
man.
Ringo, man, Ringo dog,
So
man.
The Marshall experience said, when Dean comes back, do we have the best linebacking group? I think we got a chance to. It'll really depend on how the young guys come along. Now, if they progress how we expect them to, they could, because we got Campbell, who is projected to be a dog. We got Smile Munden. We can't forget about Jeremiah Trotter Jr. We're gonna talk about those younger guys in a few minutes. But I would say if they we got the potential to be one of the best linebacking cores coming in. Now, if you remember coming into the season, preseason rankings, they had the Commanders as the number one linebacking core coming into it. So, you got to take them preseason rankings with a grain of salt. Everybody looked good in shorts until the pads come out. So, we got the potential, right? It really just depends on if Dean can come back in a timely manner. And we also don't want him to re-injure himself, right? Because this is a contract year for him. So I'm sure he, keeping that in mind. But he got some dogs behind him that's ready to eat.
Man, Washington still got whatchamacallit, right? What's his name? Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna put his old ass in the blender.
Wagner and Louvu.
He gonna hey, Louisville dog. I ain't even gonna
Louvu,
lie.
dog.
Louisville dog. But Bobby Wagner, hey, he look like he's starting to lose a little step on him. So hey, he ain't didn't do nothing but get one more. He ain't do nothing but get one more year older. He got that leadership ability. He got leadership they looking for. But as far as like athleticism, hey, every year he ticking down and down. We gonna put
If you
him
if you
we gonna
want to
put
know what to expect out of Bobby Wagner, just go back and look at that first play from the playoffs,
white.
and you see exactly why we not worried, because he can't catch Saquon. So he can't catch Saquon. He can't tackle him in the open field. His best bet is to be able to catch him before he gets started, which
Let me say this, man. As far as best linebackers, like let me say, man, it's just in the NFC East alone, man. Louisville, I like Louisville dog, and then
yep,
Overshawn for Dallas. Oh man, like matter of fact,
yeah,
I was watching one of the Philly sports shows, and they was doing player comps, and Smile Minded player comp was Overshawn. So I was like, it makes sense. They do kind of play like similar. So if we can get that out of Smile Minded, because Overshawn a dog. But just speaking on linebackers from the division, man, I really do like Louisville a lot, and I like Overshawn. Of course, I like our linebackers. Let's go without being said. Man, as far as us having the best linebackers, they'll probably be saying that by the end of the season. Starting out is a lot of, because like if we give up a few plays early in the season, a couple games, people are gonna be talking crazy. And then when we start winning games, and people start getting their foot in under them, because you gotta remember we got young boys at the linebacker core. So, and this on the second year. So, give it some to about middle to the end of the season. We'll have one of the top linebacker cores.
man. So when we think back to when the sky was falling, when the Birds was 2-2, um, that was one of the areas where it was like, oh, we don't know what we got. we They were saying that we was possibly not even gonna make the playoffs, just because everybody still had the stink of 2023 on them. They didn't believe in Vic Fangio, and just being impatient altogether. But we got to wait and see. I say one of the biggest factors of that is the fact that them boys don't play preseason no more. So what do? They use the first month of the season to get right. They use the first month of the season to get in shape. They get more involved in the playbook. Like, you can read the playbook, but it's another thing to actually go out there and run the plays. Uh, After that first month, you see what you got. Like, either you can start off hot and perfect what you got, or if you start off pretty slow, that's a good time to kind of see what you got as well. But we was lucky enough to have a bye, so we could sit down for a weekend and fix everything. And when we came off that bye, it was all she wrote.
I think something that's underrated. I think something that's underrated is like the mentality of like, and the leadership that we got in that locker room, man. Like, if you just like listening to, if you listen to these guys' interviews, and if you listen to like the guys that come on that Excited Mike's talk, it's like, dang, that's how you want your team to think, and that's how you would think they was thinking, but you never really know. So to hear like them guys talking about like having a second year in Fangio defense and how they already thinking about evolving and playing off each other, and then to hear like, we already know Jalen mindset, but to hear like Jalen and Saquon talk about, going into the next season, AJ, Smitty, like, man, so much leadership and experience in that room. You even hear Jalen, man, it's gonna be a crazy season, man. All I think every time I see an interview, and I just see the mentality of these dudes, man, I get excited about the season.
Man, I'm excited all over again just hearing you talk about it. And I seen what you was talking about. September 4th can't get here soon enough. But we gotta, since we talked about the two dogs and two of the main reasons why we were as successful as we were in 2024, we got to talk about Axeman Jr. So uh, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., obviously his dad was a fan favorite, one of the best linebackers that we had up until really the 2022 season. I believe he was an all-pro. But it's crazy that, full circle, he was able to have a kid, him come to the NFL and get drafted by the same team that his dad was a star of. Now, obviously, when you look at the numbers from last year, the numbers aren't too impressive, but you got to think that he didn't get much playing time. He was really a special teams ace. We talked about it earlier, where he made plays on special teams. He really came up with a big fumble recovery in the playoffs too, which is where that fumble recovery come from. That's actually a playoff fumble recovery, but when he did get a chance to play, I saw the instincts. He kind of reminded me of a younger Dean, which Dean is young, but he kind of reminded me of Dean from an instinct standpoint in the small sample size that we've seen. He's just one of them players that he's a little undersized, just like Dean was. So he just needs time to develop. And he got dogs in front of him, just like Dean has. So when you think about like what he could be in this defense, really is just to like wait his turn. So the fact that not only Nakobe Dean is hurt, Campbell is hurt during camp. This is gonna be a good time for him to get them reps. Him and Smile Money gonna be able to get those reps that they wouldn't necessarily get if all them boys was healthy. So we should see some big growth out of him. We probably won't be able to see it right away, just because we suspect that the depth chart is going to be Campbell up front. But if he can't go, either him or Smile Money gonna have to take those in-game reps. So I'm looking forward to seeing him take a step when he get his chance, but he's still gonna be able to contribute on special teams, and I'm excited to see what he do in 25.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, he should get probably majority of the reps. He probably get majority of the reps until Campbell come back.
Yeah.
But him and Small Money, and then you got to think about too. The beauty of our team is like we got great players on offense and defense. So it's like iron sharpens iron, which is, I think, all teams don't have that. So that's another reason why our offense and defensive line is so good. Not only do we have great talented players, but they going up against great talented players. You got one of the best defensive lines going up against one of the best offensive lines. And then they talking to each other, plays after plays, between plays, linebackers doing the same thing. So, nothing but great things come from that, and especially like, as these first games going along, like I always say, as long as they can win those first few first few regular season games that they treat like preseason games, like once the season start rolling, we good if you can win. You can stumble past the first few games because that's when bad teams stumble across wins. But I think Charlie's gonna be straight. Like if he start the season, I wouldn't be mad at it. Like I said, whoever Fangio sees fit to put up on the job, I believe in Fangio's team. I know he's not gonna put the wrong man out there for the job. Like if he thinks somebody ain't not ready, he knew him out there yet. And I think that's the reason why we saw Blankenship. Like Blankenship rookie year, he came in that Green Bay game and he had success right away. But I think one of the reasons why he had success right away was he was able to sit behind CJ, DJ, and Marcus Epps all the way into that Green Bay game and see how them boys handled the game. He got time to get into the playbook. So by the time he got on the field, he was doing his thing. So a lot of times when people see that happen, they be like, this person should have been starting all along. Well, nah, that time they got to sit and see how the vets handle things, help them. When you saw what they did later in the season. So even with Trotter, if he started the season right away, a lot of y'all got to give these guys time to develop. So he gonna make some mistakes from the beginning. But like DB said, he remind me of the Kobe Dean a lot. And this is his second year in Fangio's system. So I think he'll pick up everything pretty quick. He playing beside the ball eagle. So he gonna help him out. So I think it's gonna be straight, man. Even with the questions that we do have about him or whoever, safety, whatever, I think we'll be straight.
Man, I can't wait. What's good, Sir Bagel? How you feeling?
What up, Bagel?
But yeah, we think it probably the reception.
What you say? What happened to what?
The mic. We kind of staticky.
Yeah, it was static. Like you wasn't at first, then you just started staticking out of nowhere. Probably like the last 20 minutes.
Let me see if I can fix that.
Yeah, but what's going on with y'all, man? Hey, like, share the video. Go Birds. It's gonna be a hell of a season, man. Football season can't get here fast enough. Well, I'm trying to tell you. Every time I see a little bit of Eagles anything, boy, I'm clicking on it and I'm watching it. I gotta check out the content they got from Smitty's softball game. I seen them interviewing him like after the fact, but I didn't get to watch that on it yet. Because like if y'all ain't know, I was out the country, so I didn't really get to see any like latest stuff probably on the Eagles. I saw a little bit of stuff here and there, but I didn't really get to check that out. Even like that post we was talking about earlier with the trade for what's the guy name? Tight end. I briefly had saw that. No,
Johnny
from the
Smith.
Giants. Nah, from the Giants. Tight end from the Giants. Y'all know. Oh, Darren Waller, that's his name. I can't even hear you, DP, if you talk. We can't hear you at all. At least I can't. I don't know if they can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, I hear something now. You sound like you faint in the distance. And you was delayed. Yeah, you done messed something up, player. You delayed and you sound like far away.
Hear me?
Yeah, I don't know what you just said. You said something, but I couldn't. I heard your voice, but boy, having technical difficulties. What'd you say? You might be straight. Talk. Say something. Oh, nah, you ain't straight.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
All right, cool. We just gonna have to rock with that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to rock with this.
But yeah. All right. So what Baker talking about in this text?
What do you think
Talking
about?
the Dolphins trade?
We talked about that earlier, Baker. Where you been at?
But yeah, in short, the Dolphins won that trade. That's what we think about it.
We'll see though.
Yeah, because I mean, like we talked about earlier, if Jalen Ramsey come out and have an All-Pro season, hey, it was worth it. One player that I am excited about is Jahad Campbell. I mean, I think we all kind of excited about our first round pick. First of all, he fell. This thing getting on my nerves. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
When I think about Jahad Campbell, he one of them dogs. I can't believe that he fell to us. Obviously, injury concerns made him fall all the way to 32 or 31. Oh, good, you can hear me now. He fell all the way to 32 because of injury concerns. But if he end up being what everybody said he was gonna be, we'll be just fine because he playing next to the ball eagle. He playing in a deep linebacker room, and he get a chance to play with players like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and just to name on and on. He got a good team around him, so he'll be able to develop. In my opinion, the biggest thing for him is being able to be available so he can learn the system and be able to ball out. But I'm excited to see what we see out of the rookie. Hopefully, he can get on the field some point in camp and earn that starting spot. Otherwise, he'll have to wait and see. And like you said, if Smile Monday come out there, because he completely healthy, so if Smile Monday come out there and show out, it might be the other way around. It might be Smile out there with the ball eagle initially and wreaking havoc from the middle of the field. So tell me what you kind of do. You expect anything out of John Campbell if healthy?
Yeah, filthy. Man, if you ain't watch this young man play, just go watch him play. That tell you everything you need right there. If he playing up to par, him and Zach Bond definitely could be like the two. They could be considered like if Campbell come out there, depending on how long it take him to catch up to speed. But if he come out there and play the way we know he can play, and the way we think he can play, him and Zach Bond easily could be considered one of the top duos in the league, just like everybody think they should be. But yeah, as of right now, we just gotta wait on him to get healthy. And shoot, it might be time for us to get out of here because you static it like a mug.
Say something real quick.
Oh, you might be back. You might be straight. I don't know if you can hear me, but you sounded clear right there. Oh, nah, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. When you said say something real quick, you was crystal clear. I know what you did after that, but go back to wherever you was at.
Testing.
Testing.
All right. Oh, you said I am good? All right.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Don't touch me.
All right. So yeah, let's wrap this up for what we have in the more technical difficulties. We got to talk about our last rookie from the linebacker position, and the guy that we most excited about, Smile Monday Jr. Now when we look at his stats, he didn't play or start a whole year, so that's why you see his numbers look the way they look. Um, but he's bigger than I thought he was gonna be. I thought he was gonna be like a smaller linebacker, kind of like a cover type backer, which he's still gonna be able. He got cover skills, but I thought he'd be smaller than he actually is. Um, right now, like we said, he got a chance to get some of those reps that the injured backers are missing out on. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do when he lace him up. I think right now he got like number 42 or something like that, but I'm sure this is a different number um, the once the roster get down. How you feeling about Smile Money?
Man, y'all already know. Y'all already know how I feel about Smile Money. That was one of my favorite picks in the draft. Him and Andrew McCool. I wanted to get Smile Money from the get-go. Then when we ended up getting, I thought he was gonna be gone way before. I ain't gonna say way before, but I thought he was gonna be gone like before we got him. I think we did. What round we got him in? Did we get Smile Money in like the 5th round?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, I thought he would be
gone.
gone.
Second. We got Ty Robinson in the 3rd, I think. But yeah,
so
it was late.
I was thinking he was gonna be gone like maybe like 3rd round or something like that. But I think we ended up getting him like 4th, 5th round or whatever. But man, hell of a player, man. Hell of a player. So y'all already know how I feel about Small Money. Like I said, he was one of my favorite draft picks in the draft. Outside of Campbell, Small Money and Andrew McCool is my favorite draft picks.
Man, I'm excited to see them boys play.
Best draft pick.
Tyler Warren, that was the tight end that, of course, the coach drafted. Probably one of the best tight ends in the whole draft. But hey, Baker, tell me something. How you feel about Richardson at this point? Is it kind of like do or die for him? Is his last chance to see what he got? He do have some weapons. But was it reports that he got hurt? Hey, so tell me how you feeling about Richardson before we get out of here. On the fence. In your opinion, is this kind of the last hoorah for? I forgot y'all got Daniel Jones. They did sign Daniel Jones, so that's who giving them a run for his money in camp. I thought Richardson got hurt. I just feel like if Richardson can't stay healthy, the coach can't keep him. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like do or die for him. Whatever you get out of him this season is pretty much it. You can't extend him. Not with the money that quarterbacks is making. The crazy part about it is he probably is going to do better for the second team. That's normally how it works. Getting a fresh start for whatever reason. Maybe Sugar Shane Steichen giving them too much ice cream. I don't know. Yeah, I thought he got hurt. Um, Man, Daniel Jones come in and take his spot. That ain't a good look. That is not a good look. But yeah, we pretty much ran through the linebacking core and the state of the line. I feel really good overall about our linebacking core. It's definitely been worse at times. I think our main concern as a whole with the linebacking core is just injuries, right? If people can get back healthy and get back on the field, and our rookies pan out the way we think they are, I think we'll be just fine at the position. I think the main thing when it comes to that core specifically is the bald eagle being year two in Vic Fangio's system, and seeing what we got out of either Jahad Campbell or if N'Kobe Dean can come back in a timely manner and give us some valuable minutes. But tell me how you feel about the linebacking core as a whole.
Yeah, I feel like we straight. I feel like linebacker is not one of the positions I'm concerned about. Like the only positions I'm really concerned about is depth at corner and depth at safety. Linebacker, I think we're straight. We're gonna be straight. We got Zach Bond. Campbell gonna come back from the injury. He ain't gonna be injured forever. He's gonna come back. We got Small Money. We got Trotter. I think we do.
Yeah, I feel the same way. We should be pretty good. And just like we say over and over again, as long as this team can stay healthy, we're gonna be, in the conversation for, playing meaningful snaps, at the first of the year next year. So with that being said, that's what we had today. This has been another dope episode of the Down South Philly Show. This stream in particular has been powered by the Sports Lounge Media. If we got any NFL fantasy players in the building, stay tuned because at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, the Marshall Experience is coming on, and he's gonna cover the top fantasy sleepers from the running back position for 2025. So go ahead and get your pen and pad ready if you need some help with your fantasy this year. Other than that, I'm DP. We had Dom, our co-host Dom, in the building. We was breaking down the linebacking core today, and we can't forget Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.